Today, we're going to talk about what to do when things go right. You thought I was going to say when things go wrong. No, we're going to talk about when things go right, you experience maybe some luck in life from a financial perspective. It's a windfall, maybe a surprise, an unexpected financial event that leaves you with more money in your pocket than you thought you were going to have. Some people call it luck. We call it a planning opportunity. We're going to talk today with Sean about what to do if you find yourself in one of these kinds of situations. Let's get to it. It's another episode of Retirement Elevated. I'm Walter Storholt, still filling in for Mark Killian on today's show, but always joined by Sean Lee, managing partner of Elevated Retirement Group, based in Utah, but serving clients all across the country. And Sean, we got another great episode on the way today. Being a baseball guy, you know when you've seen on the field when there's skill and when there's a little bit of luck involved in winning the game or making the play, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say that luck never plays a part, but baseball, and Mark and I talk about this all the time. I talk about baseball, I get lit up in the comment section, but I don't really care because they call baseball a game of inches for a reason. And
yes,
and there is a little bit of luck when, in certain situations that it will either go your way or they won't go your way. And unfortunately, or hopefully, things go your way more often than not, but that's life.
But even if you get a little bit of luck, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game. And so you still got to do something with that luck, right? So luck alone
create your own luck and then execute on it.
Great way to view it. So we're going to look at different scenarios where you could view it as a lucky thing that happens to somebody. And we're going to say, no matter how you view that, what's the opportunity here from a financial perspective? And maybe just how do you handle that issue that you're going to be going through? Because there's risks involved, even if you're in a lucky situation. The first one will be pretty obvious. And that's, hey, you won the lottery. Congratulations. Amazing. How awesome would that be? But we've all seen the statistics before, Sean, about how the lottery winners go broke within a couple of years, and it blows people away. But there's a big opportunity combined with some luck that somebody experienced.
Well, I don't know the exact statistics, but I know a lot of people run out of money when it comes to.
They made a whole TV show about broke lottery winners, right? Yeah. I think that was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
As the one thing that they forget, if you win $2 million, like, hey, I got $2 million. Actually, you don't. You probably have $1 million too, maybe, after the largest benefactor takes their share, which is the government.
Yeah.
And from there, what my opinion on any windfall is pretty simple. Hey, just do nothing. Take a little bit of money. I know that there's like, oh, I got all this money. I want to go spend it. I want to buy a car or a house, whatever it may be.
This is the opposite of our last episode where we were like, spend, it's okay, permission. Exactly. This is like, wait, hold on.
Hold on, pump the brakes, take a little bit of time to think about what just came in, and then earmark a small amount, whatever that amount is, I don't really care, to do whatever you want with. Hey, if you've got $1 million and you say, I want to spend $100,000 of it, that's your prerogative, but maybe spend $50,000 on stuff that you just blow it on and then put the rest to work for you. But spend some time thinking about it. There's no rule that when you get in and you win the lottery that you have to spend that money immediately.
Yeah.
You own it. It's your money. You control it. Just be a little bit more thoughtful on where it goes.
Yeah. I love your advice on don't do anything, right? Like just let those emotions come down a little bit. Just sit on that for a little while, let the emotions come down. Then you can start making maybe clearer decisions with your mind. Like just that right there probably would have saved a ton of lottery winners throughout history.
And maybe not tell people like, hey, I won the lottery. Because
that's another big one, right? Yeah. Everybody's hitting you up for money. So yeah. The first thing I'm thinking of doing if I win the lottery is like anonymity. How do I not let anyone else find out about this?
Yeah. Put it in an account. Life is as usual. I'm sure there will be signs, but still, take a breath. There's no rush.
Yeah. If I ever win the not if it's a million or whatever, I think you're taking the lump sum, right? But if it was
Yeah.
ever one of these, I don't know, the $1 billion mega ball or whatever, I might take the annuity option, the 30-year distribution, Sean. I know it's not the financially you can make
Yeah.
more if you get the lump sum now, but just because every year you get a do-over
Right.
with a couple million.
You have a bad financial year, like a bad decision-making year.
Yeah.
And next year you get to start over.
It's like, oh man, I really messed up 2026, but hey, 2027, I get another 15 million to play with. Okay. I'll get it right this year.
Exactly.
So save you from yourself, maybe. Might be worth thinking about. All right, let's look at a more realistic situation.
Okay.
Let's say that your company gets acquired, and that creates a bit of a financial boost for you. Hey, company is acquired. Maybe you've got, I don't know, bonuses, stock options, some sort of payout that comes along with that. That could be a dramatic difference for somebody in their life, but also an experience that maybe they've never had before.
And that's when a lot of planning comes into play, right? Do you have stock options from your previous employer that was purchased? Does the new company give you stock? How does all that lay out? And then financially, what change does that make to your salary, to your 401k opportunities, your health, all of that stuff? How do you really then, if you're a business owner, for example, you sell your company, how do all those benefits come into play? But more importantly, what do you do with the money that you've received, whether it's in cash or stock? That is a big decision that probably has to be made fairly quickly, because once a company is purchased, you want to take the steps from a tax planning perspective to make sure that you're on the right path and you're getting the best strategic value for the cash or stock that you're receiving for your plan going forward. So if you receive, $8 million in cash, that's a little bit different than receiving $8 million in stock. So how do you plan for that? So I think that takes a little bit more planning than, just receiving the lottery.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing a family member go through this many years ago where they were just an employee of the company that got acquired, but it came with great financial incentive for them and was probably the most money they made in their entire career.
Yeah.
But new ownership came in. That was a whole nother dynamic. And the culture of the place changed very quickly.
Yep.
And it was the most stressed they'd ever been in their entire life. And it was a nightmare despite being this big financial windfall. So that one could come with a whole positive financial element, but maybe a very negative emotional or lifestyle change to it.
And what are the restrictions on if that did happen, when you could sell your stock and just get out? Are there vesting schedules or things like that force you to stay at a company that maybe you don't like the dynamic internally of right at that point?
Yeah. What about this next situation? You receive an inheritance, maybe not exactly the same situation as a lottery, but some sort of windfall, usually with an inheritance, obviously, but a very different emotional component that comes with it.
And I see this all over the board, right? Like in a lot of, most commonly what we'll do when we're building plans, inheritance will be brought up, but it's not part of the planning process. So we don't include it as assets that are going to come in. We don't plan on it. We don't count on it. And the reason that we don't is that I don't want inheritance to be emotional. I mean, I already know that losing a parent or both parents or aunt or uncle or whatever it may be is going to be emotional in its own right. So when you receive inheritance, certain things happen. One, we have to understand the tax coding on what you receive. Is it pre-tax money? Is it post-tax money? Is it a house? Whatever it may be. But two, we then need to understand what the purpose of that money is going to be for the family. Now, that decision doesn't have to come anytime soon. So in a lot of cases, we'll start the planning, if our client wants to, earlier rather than later. But if they're really emotionally tied to a stock or a particular holding, because mom and dad worked for Chevron or Exxon, or they worked for AT&T, whatever it may be, we can hold on to that particular holding for as long as they choose. So there's a planning component where, yeah, maybe we want to do some planning and provide some purpose to this money, but there's also an emotional component where we say, let's earmark some of these holdings that you really have an emotional connection to, and keep them as long as they're strong companies or whatever it may be, and not make any decisions on any time frame because we don't have to. I mean, you don't have to. If I inherited AT&T stock, I don't have to sell it. I have to make sure that I get the new step up in cost basis when I inherited that money. I don't have to do anything if I don't want to. So make a decision when you're ready, then put purpose to that money, and then hold on to holdings that have an emotional component as long as they fit what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, great point. I know we could spend probably an entire episode talking about inheritance strategies and conversations and all those kinds of things, but a lot of that seems to echo what you talked about with the lottery as well. Just, hey, let's take a beat. Let emotions settle down a little bit and filter through and try to separate the financial element from all that swirling around it in a different way than the lottery, but some similar maybe guidance there for sure.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's no with inheritance, there's no rush.
Yeah. All right. Another situation where I bet a lot of your clients, this would be them. You know, you look at your home value and you might say, oh, it's doubled since we bought it, maybe tripled or more, right? Like that's very possible depending on how long they've been in the home. And that gets a lot of people's wheels turning going, well, maybe we could move and buy something a lot cheaper and then harvest those gains. Maybe we get a HELOC and tap into the equity. Like that gets the wheels turning a lot when you see just how much your home value has increased. How do you navigate clients through that situation?
I think it really depends. I mean, you always have to have a place to live, right? Like, and yeah, it's I don't want to call your home a dead asset because that term gets used a lot, but it's you have to have a place to live. And so if your home is paid off, you don't have a free place to live, but you have a really cost-effective place to live. Now, if your home has doubled or tripled in value, that does open doors if you decide that you want to relocate, right? So I want to move to, we just had a family move from Salt Lake to Arizona. We just had another family move from Park City to Boise. And it was best for their family to do that. Now, the byproduct of that is that the Salt Lake market is pretty strong. They were able to, I think, both sell their homes within 3 days. And now they're able to go to those areas that they want and pay cash for new houses and have a little bit extra equity. The flip side to that is, well, what if we don't want to leave, but we want to maybe buy a second home? There's that opportunity as well. Do I think a HELOC is the best way to do that? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how much you want to borrow and how much the payments are and so on. But having equity in the home, in some cases, as long as your income sources can allow for it, could potentially allow for you to buy a secondary home. Now you've got 2 pieces of property, hopefully both appreciating, and it's just adding to your net worth. But your plan has to be able to cover the mortgage on that second home if you were to take one.
Makes sense. And I know that's, it sounds to me like you're saying, hey, this is a great secondary benefit, but it's not something we're going to build into the plan necessarily as the leading reason to go do something. More of all right, so this situation is happening. How can we now best use it to our advantage? But not, hey, in order to make your retirement plan work, we're going to have to move you from Salt Lake to, Florida.
Southern Wyoming.
Wyoming. And then you can retire successfly. You want to do it before you have, that's not the primary driver of
you want it to be a benefit, right? I've got a home. I even look at it with our family. Our house here in Salt Lake. My daughter's going to be going to college in a year. Do we need the house that we have? Probably not. Once our son decides, where he's going to go to high school, college, we may downsize as well. And it's just a matter of our lifestyle changing a little bit.
Yeah, great points. All right, last one here. We've been talking about kind of situations of luck, and then how do you plan around it. This last one is a very, very basic and straightforward one, and very common. Hey, stock market surged, and we have a whole bunch of more money in our account now all of the sudden. I mean, this has been happening a lot over the last decade or so, right? Ever since 2008, we've been on a pretty good tear with a couple of blips here and there, but lots of stock market surges, and boy, it's a great feeling. This is just where the real planning happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of times it's like, hey, the market's up 20%. I'm like, cool. How's that going to change your life?
Yeah.
Well, if the market runs like that and then you need income, well, great. maybe you don't have $1 million, maybe you have $1.5 million, and you can create more dividend income off of $1.5 million than you could $1 million. I mean, that's the real benefit when the market surges. Or, do we adjust some of our growth stocks to more income producing vehicles at that point? And so it does, a surging stock market does create opportunity. But if you're just adjusting or selling stock just to sell stock because your balance is high, I don't know that I would necessarily do that, because if you just want to spend it, right? If you want to reinvest it a different way or create more opportunity, because let's go back to that home. Let's say that your value does go to $1.5 million, and you've got 500,000 that you could turn into dividend producing that could pay for a mortgage. Well, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because now you're taking advantage of the growth in your portfolio to provide an additional lifestyle benefit for you without having to come out of pocket necessarily anything else.
You're doing it with purpose. There's a reason for the move. Yeah.
Yeah, there's purpose behind the decisions that you're making.
Great point. Well, we could apply that to all of these, right? All of these have emotional tie-ins, maybe a bit of luck here and there, or just good fortune. But we're looking to then, how do we properly plan? Gave you a lot of good little examples here. I'm just curious, Sean, to put a bow on today's episode. Have you had any great stories from your years of working as an advisor through your own clients where somebody had some sort of lucky situation like this that kind of, that blew you away a little bit, and then what you guys did about it to kind of help them navigate through it? Any lottery winners, I guess, is sort of the obvious one. But.
No, I mean, I live in Utah, so we don't have the lottery.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You got to go up to Idaho, Nevada, Wyoming. So we don't see a lot of lottery winners here. We've dealt with quite a bit of inheritance, which we've been pretty fortunate. The families that we represent are pretty responsible with the money that they've received and the stewards that they are of those assets. So fortunately, we're pretty boring. I haven't run into anybody that has just blown through $1 million or $1.5 million. They've been really, really smart when they inherit that money.
Nice. So your luck situations have mostly been the more standard ones of an inheritance, which defining that as luck is usually, I wouldn't usually do that, but stock market surging, home value doubling, that sounds like where you've seen the most stories.
Pretty normal standard stuff. The $50 million Powerball winner, I don't know that we've even had one in Utah that's gone up to Idaho. So
yeah, exactly.
Maybe we have. I just haven't. I don't watch the news enough to know.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone will come from another state and then want to work with you, and that'll happen that way. But no, great guidance and help on today's show, Sean. Thanks for telling us a little bit about how you think through these planning scenarios. And I know your clients have appreciated it over the years as well. If you're going through one of these situations, a company getting acquired, an inheritance maybe, and wondering how to deal with that, plan for it, how to think about it properly from a financial standpoint, the home value question, the stock market, where it is today, and how that impacts you. These are the kinds of questions that people have for Sean and his team all the time. So don't hesitate to reach out if that's you. We've got contact information on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, as well as in the description of today's show on all of the audio apps, the website, and of course on YouTube as well. So however you're watching or consuming today's episode, it should be easy to get in touch. Just check that description or look at the screen and you can see the phone number, the website, and all the ways to get in touch with Sean and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. Sean, thanks for all the help this week. Go play some baseball, or coach some baseball, I should say, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, my baseball days of playing are few and far between.
But many years of coaching ahead, hopefully still.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll see everybody next time right back here on Retirement Elevated. Thanks for watching and listening.
This podcast has been prepared for educational and marketing purposes only. The information in this video is general in nature, does not constitute personalized investment advice, and does not provide a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All investments involve risk, and different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk. There can be no assurance that any specific investment strategy will be profitable or suitable to you. Additionally, although information presented in this podcast is believed to be factual and up to date, we do not guarantee its accuracy. You should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation, and should consult a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies mentioned in this video. Investment advisory services are offered through Elevated Capital Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not not constitute an endorsement of Elevated Capital Advisors LLC by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the firm has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance advice and products may be offered by a third-party insurance producer, which may be affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC and Elevated Capital Advisors LLC. Walter Storholt, Mark Killian, and Third Wheel Media LLC are not clients of Elevated Capital Advisors. They receive cash compensation for their assistance in preparing and hosting this podcast, and for providing the endorsement contained in this podcast. Because Walter, Mark, and Third Wheel Media are compensated in connection with this podcast, they have a material conflict of interest in providing their endorsement.